Once you've got a good idea, it's much easier to push that to wretched excess. Of course, it's always going to be some good idea. Nobody's going to say, I've got some that I want to sell you.
Charlie Munger just revealed that he believes the US will likely face either higher inflation or a recession in 2023. The 98-year-old billionaire and business.
Hello guys, welcome back to Christian Finance for your regular financial content. And today we'll be reacting to Charlie Munger view on the current markets, where he thinks we're going to be headed in the short to mid to long term. I'll give you my own personal perspective afterwards as well. He's the right-hand man of the greatest investor of all time, Warren Buffett. He has been with him for a long time in Berkshire Hathaway. And although as of recently, there are a few things that I disagree with them on, overall he's undoubtedly been someone that I've looked up to in my financial journey for sure.
We haven't had to try it, but if we get in the kind of trouble Japan was in, of course we'll do the same damn thing.
Do you worry about the Fed creating a recession by slamming on the brakes too hard?
Well, I think the Fed is willing to have a little recession in order not to have out of control inflation. That's what they're supposed to do.
And right here, Charlie's actually saying and defending the interest rate increases by the Feds, which part of me actually has to agree with him on. I mean, right now, the recent month, we actually had a 7.1% inflation year-over-year increase, which was a huge decrease from the peak of a couple months ago of 9.1 back in June. And I do believe that the reason why we're able to go steadily down has been because of the interest rates. No, I do not believe they're going to keep increasing the interest rates aggressively anymore. For one, they don't need to. Also, you have to keep in mind that the US does have a lot of debt themselves. And the more they increase the interest rates for the consumers, they're also increasing their interest rates on their national debt as well, right? So it's a bit of a double-edged sword for sure. With that, I just want to take a quick second and ask you to like the video as well as subscribe to the channel. Currently, I'm not doing any promotions, nor are there any ads on the channel. The only thing I ask you guys to support me, just subscribe to the channel. And Charlie, for the last 6 months or so, has been very vocal about him thinking that we're headed towards a recession, potentially even worse than a vocal recession. He's even gone as far as to state that we might be wishing for a vocal recession. And that is just simply talking about back in the early 80s, there was a very famous recession with really high inflation, record-setting at the time. And economist Paul Volcker had to take really aggressive action by increasing interest rates to astronomical amounts to be able to deal with it. So that's how Charlie's making that reference from back then. Personally, I don't think it's going to be as bad this time around, but we'll just have to wait and see how time goes. The Dow Jones really has been quite steady all throughout. Obviously, the tech stocks have taken a hit, but I think most people that know what they're talking about can agree that they were largely overvalued during the pandemic highs. But overall, the Dow, I mean, if anything, it's actually increased slightly in the last 6 months. But yeah, I do think that 2023 may be turbulent if a few macroeconomic things go wrong or don't get resolved, as I've covered in many of the other videos. But come on, I mean, I cannot make a Charlie Munger video not mention Warren at all. So all throughout 2021, with stocks and no assets really were at peak prices, Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway were either holding or selling. But now, mid-2022, when everything was at a relative low price, that's when he made a lot of picks that right now he's currently up. So the moral of the story is this: do your research, make sure to place high conviction, but then once those two things are hit, when the prices are low, that's your best time to invest, right? Not at peak prices. Also, ideally for long-term investing, make sure you don't need the money for at least 5 years, right? That's a good rule of thumb to follow. With that, guys, the video is over. Let me know other similar financial content you'd like me to do next. Once again, if you're enjoying the content, subscribe down below. It just takes one click. And as always, stay diversified.